I want to start letting it go a little bit as we're just hanging out before it.
Mhm.
Viewership up. Usually it takes a few minutes.
Cool. I was hoping to be able to announce NFTs, but I'm like so close. I have the debug running in the back here, so it's like tonight for sure. I'll have it. But
cool. And set it up for the Friday wine and dine.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of which, I think I should be able to make that. Yeah, I should be able to. What are we doing? 8 o'clock? 8 p.m.?
Yeah.
Typically for the wine and dine? Okay. Yeah, I land at 3, which gives me a few hours to get to the hotel and get set up and then to join the wine and dine. I love a pina colada, guys.
Do it from the beach, get a sunset.
Totally, exactly. And you can be here too if you invest in DynamoCoin.
Yeah. The Dynamo lifestyle.
We're on. I'm just waiting to see if some people start popping up.
I don't think we need to wait. I mean, we're cool.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I've noticed other people have been doing that. They kind of just put it up and let people start getting on here.
We should probably just start the stream even if it's empty 5 minutes early or something, because it tweets and does whatever in Discord and everything, you know?
I was thinking about doing that as long as you guys, and then you would just jump on and you'll know as soon as you're on, we're into it.
Yep.
Okay. All right, everybody, let's do this. Hello, crypto world. All right, this is Crypto Chat Live. We've got a lot of stuff to go over today.
From the crypto van.
That's right. Oh, sorry, I got to do my introductions. Didn't even go through the introductions. We got Sean Neal, Keith Carpentier, and me.
Diners.
Barry. And we're still waiting. Oh, we got some people coming up already. All right.
Bring it on.
All right, welcome to Crypto Chat. Let's head to the markets right now. First thing up. Markets have been up the last couple days. 30% this week for a lot of stuff. And if you're a Axum, Axinfinity, was it 100%, 190%?
It's a good week.
Yeah, a lot of people are excited, thinking it's all coming back. A lot of volume coming back into the market too. Are you thinking it's back, Sean, Keith, or is it? It's all temporary?
Sean's sticking to his range, baby. That's what I'm predicting. What do you say, Sean?
No fundamentals to drive a change here. So, maybe it's just a lack of negative news. I'm just not seeing anything that would cause this to happen. So, it's gambling again. It's speculation. I would say see a drop back to 35 in the next couple of weeks or so.
You don't think the 155 billion market capitalization in the last 3 days is a boost at all?
I mean, it's a boost, but I don't think I don't think that it's a long-lived thing right now. People are still getting negative press about it. There's still a lot of regulation. There's a lot of misinformation at the very highest levels by people who should know better. I just don't see any fundamentals that are driving this. And we talk about capitalization, right? 1.5 trillion or something like that. But if you look at the United States stock market, that's 52 trillion or something like that, right? So this is still really small. You can't say low volume necessarily, but comparatively, this is a low volume asset class. I think you're gonna get some ways to go.
Well, it's a huge boost from last year.
Yeah. Come on. Let's drop a little sunshine on this, Joe. Debbie Downer. Okay, stop. You cannot tell me, Joe. You can't tell me that 4 handle makes you feel real good, right? Like it got a 4 handle, and I think, and again, we can talk about market sentiment and technicals and fundamentals. Like in the end. 5 minutes ago, all the talking heads were talking about going down to 25 and 24, and boom goes the crypto dynamite. We got a 4 handle, and I think that's really good for market sentiment. I think it gives the average investor a little bit of wow, okay, like I expect up and downs. I expect volatility. This is not surprising to me. But no, we didn't take the elevator down. You know, we went up to 40,000, and whether it holds or not, who knows? I mean, nobody's crystal ball is that good. But I think from a market sentiment standpoint, getting that 4 handle was real good.
Mm-hmm. There still is a ton of money flooding into the economy. Just with this crazy example, we moved out of the house we were renting a couple of months ago or a month ago now, and I had predicted that the house would sit for a while. The guy had a very unrealistic, in my opinion, price expectation. He thought it was worth around $750,000, and I said, you might get $580 or $590 for it. He listed it on July 16th. It sold for full price on July 18th.
Wow.
Yeah, anything under $1 million is just going without any question in days. It's crazy. So just the amount of cash that's in the market and the free cash, because lending is very loose still, right? Credit is really easy. So quantitative easing is working. So yeah, a lot of cash chasing risk.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. Let's dig into that a little bit, Sean, right? Like, isn't that the huge conundrum at the moment by the Fed keeping interest rates at 0 or near 0? Like, you are forcing the public at general to chase yield in whatever form or fashion that may take. And yes, indeed, some of it is being squeezed into the crypto space, and crypto is benefiting from it. So, good on crypto markets if you're capitalizing on the environment of the day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, think about it. You need a nominal yield of like 6 or 7%, just to break even, because inflation is through the roof. So so you got to take some risk to just keep your money.
Might have to get a 100%. TA guy on here to argue with Sean one day.
Nice, bring it on. We need a guest arguer.
Yeah.
Cool. Let's see. Let's go to Binance. The Binance CEO, a little drama going on. I was very surprised. I don't think he is the one that said that he was going to step down, but let's get into that a little. Binance CEO says he's willing to step down as the world's biggest crypto exchange welcomes regulation. I don't think that came from him. It was probably the board kind of just saying it's time to move on to try to move this thing.
And CZP is one of these guys who's an icon, definitely a say overachiever, but one of these guys who's just a crypto fixture, right? He's like a Shrem or a Buterin or one of these kind of guys. So I think this is an olive branch to the regulators to say, look, we're going to try to do the right thing. We obviously have a very lucrative business, and we don't want to be shut down. And so this is the first step towards maybe some repentance for them otherwise flouting a lot of regulation.
A little bit later in that day, once that came out, he got to Twitter and said, when they misquote you, another thread on a CEO is no immediate plans to replace me as CEO. So he was starting to clear things up.
Yeah, well, you can see he's saying hire a strong compliance background to the commitments, right? So that's it. This is the olive branch that says, hey, we're going to clean house a little bit.
All right, let's go to what's going to affect the markets a lot, and that is the Senate Banking Committee and all the hearings going on, trying to regulate crypto. Warren, talking about it. Crypto's bad, but what would be good is if we have a U.S. digital currency. That'll be good. Senate, who is this person? You sent it over to me. The Bank Committee bashes Bitcoin, calling it phony populism.
Mm-hmm. Dude, this is every politician's photo op dream come true, right? I mean, the amount of headlines that any one of them is going to get just by sponsoring a hearing is going to be through the roof, right? So you can see all of these guys lining up to jump on this very populist wave and anti-crypto wave just for their own self-benefit, right? I think it's just a lot of headline grabbing showmanship is all that this really is.
Mm-hmm. There's some passages from the article that are just really unbelievable to read, where they try to cast crypto developers and sponsors as evil people who are not interested at all. And really, look, there's a lot of scams, of course. We all know that. There's lots of guys out there that are running Ponzi schemes. But largely, people who are these evangelists of coins believe in what they're doing, right? They believe in the getting, the decentralization. And so it's really amazing to read that these guys should know better. When they're going to talk about something like this and use their megaphone, they should really do their homework. It's very, very disappointing.
Let me ask you guys this then. It's in comparison. Everybody compares the .com boom to what's going on in cryptocurrency right now. They didn't regulate the web early on. Was that good or bad? And, there's going to be regulation coming, but they should just wait it out. This whole July 28th deadline? It gave no time for anybody to figure out what was going on. I think they would need to wait more time, or what do you think?
Yeah, how many central government employees and congressmen do you really think are going to line up and support like decentralized cryptocurrency, right? I mean, it's a direct affront to their power base, right? So I can't really imagine a long line for all the politicos to get up and endorse it. It's almost just like low-hanging fruit to bash the whole cryptocurrency. What votes are you going to lose? I think in that calculus, the votes and the media exposure are going to far outweigh, the negative. So again, I think this is just a bit of theater.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, Sean.
Well, I was going to say, this country has millions, tens of millions of laws. You can't walk out your front door without breaking a law. Like, there's just so much, there's so much regulation in this country. So the last thing we need is more laws, right? Like there are existing frameworks, both for the web and for crypto and anything in technology. There are existing frameworks to make sure that people don't do bad things, just from a common sense standpoint. And a lot of people say, it hides the crime. Like, we've talked about this before. It's not hiding a crime. Detectives do work based on real world facts. There's nothing special about this. So if someone is moving guns from point A to point B illegally, well, they need to stop that, not by disabling crypto. They need to stop that by going and finding those people and arresting them. Like, this is not, it's a blame game. So the people say, the web helped to disseminate, bad information, whatever. People disseminate bad information. And if you want to stop them, you stop the people, not the channel.
I mean, that's the age-old thing, right? Is it the gun that kills people, or is it the person pulling the trigger who kills people? It's the same argument. So
you can't. I mean, you can outlaw a steak knife because you could kill somebody, but that doesn't. Yeah. It's nonsense. This whole thing. So, last thing we need is more regulation.
Well, regulation's coming. What do you think is gonna end up happening? If you got a crystal ball, you've got to have some kind of idea of what kind of regulation.
I think they're going to probably make a lot of mistakes and use a sledgehammer when they should use a scalpel. They're going to create these laws that are probably nonsensical, unenforceable things. Just for the theater, right? Just like what Keith is saying, we're getting some votes. You're going to create some things that really don't have any meaning. But yeah, look, what serves us well right now is AML and KYC, right? FinCEN does a great job of tracking money from point A to point B and identifying people that are laundering money, right? We see people getting arrested for that all the time. So those mechanisms are working, and crypto doesn't make that any different. When I want to turn it into fiat so that I can go do something with it, until you can pay your rent or buy a house or buy a car, whatever, in crypto untraceably, it's you still have to turn into fiat to get anything tangible out of it. And you can't. There's no hidden. Well, there are, I guess, but hidden real estate deals, right? Of course, nobody's up in arms that there's an ability in New York City to completely anonymously buy a $10 million condo, right? Like I can go form a shell company that's owned by an anonymous other shell company and buy a piece of real estate. Nobody cares about that, right? But that's complete, and that's used for money laundering all the time, right? So I think you're going to see a sledgehammer approach, which is just going to be nonsensical.
Do you ever come to a point it's just like 2 exchanges they allow, like 2 or 3 exchanges in the U.S. They try to really centralize it. They don't know what they're going to do right now.
Already is, and I think the problem is, of course, complying with money service business regulations, because 46 states have individual licensing requirements. It's already a centralized thing. It could cost you $10 million to get the licensing for an exchange, and probably takes 18 months in some states. So to run a national exchange in the United States is already a centralized thing, which is unfortunate, right? That squelches competition and innovation and everything else. But that's capitalism.
But it also makes it easier for the regulators to put their finger on it, right? If it is concentrated down to 1 or 2, counterintuitively, it helps them, And then similarly too, let's not gloss over the fact that there is a very powerful, banking lobby in the United States now that is all over this, and I'm quite sure funding, a lot of these campaigns and inquiries into crypto.
And I think until you see the crypto industry, whoever that is, I'm not sure, get behind a lobbying group, right? And start pouring their own money into it. You're not going to hear the counter of those voices.
But that's funny, actually, Sean. Let's peel that onion back a little bit. Like, I think that is the right thing to do, right? You need a voice, and that voice needs to be up there on Capitol Hill. But the very action of doing that is almost counter to decentralization, right? You're centralizing and focusing the political voice, if you will, of crypto. But pick your poison, right? Which is the greater evil? If you don't, then you won't have a voice, right? So it's
unless you can convince everyday people that this is a good thing for them, right?
Yeah, and how has that worked out for the vaccine, Sean? How has that worked out?
Right. Yep. No, I agree. So yeah, I would not be surprised. I mean, I'm sure there already are crypto lobbyists, but I would not be surprised to see that. They have some kind of fund for coins to pay into or something like that. If you run a coin, or you run an exchange, or you run a hedge fund, whatever, you can pay into a crypto.
You surprised not to see somebody like a Michael Saylor try to get more involved in this? I mean, he would be the one advocate.
Sure, Mark Cuban, Elon Musk, all those guys. Yeah, I'm sure.
Well, Saylor, he's committed the most. He's went all in.
Yeah, man. There's an old saying, though, Joe. Pioneers get slaughtered, settlers get the land. Does Saylor really want to do that? Like, really, just paint the bullseye on you? Like, that's a tough job. I don't know who'd be signing up for that. The poster child for the industry.
All right, let's jump over to the next. What do we got next? We can go over this real quick and go to the next subject. But on that same note, they're already talking about crypto raising the taxes by making $30 billion off of crypto and changing a lot of it already. That's all it's about. It's really about taxes.
Exactly. That's it.
Yep.
Like if they could find a way that the government would be able to get their money right and fend off this like imminent threat that they're going to lose their precious taxing authority, it would probably be a different conversation. But right now,
the US digital currency would do that. You can't hide dollar bills if it's a digital currency.
Right, but then it's a centralized, controlled digital currency, right? Like you've just undermined it all. Yep. Yep. They have the power to print it. Like that's just a slide to hell. That's no good.
Yep.
On that next subject, we'll go over to a little story on Monero. With all the news about cryptocurrency being bad, here's a story on Reddit in the Reddit cryptocurrency community. I can't talk right now. This prescription saver website, you actually save money if you pay with your Monero instead of paying $444 for your insulin insurance. You'll pay $91, so you're saving money right there. They talk about it's not being bad. You're paying for drugs, but it's good drugs.
Right. Yeah. I think everybody, crypto's used to buy drugs, but people don't realize that, in some jurisdictions, the cost to buy something is just prohibitively high, particularly insulin, which, is a remarkably easy drug to manufacture. But because of the pharmaceutical monopoly that exists in the United States and the way that insurance works, it's just incredibly expensive. And so, this person was aptly observing that, they can't afford insulin, but if they buy it illegally, that it's, a quarter of the price through crypto. So, look, I'm never going to say anybody should break a law, but if it's a choice between getting your life-saving drug or not and breaking a law, obviously some people are doing the calculation here. So I think this is, this is one of the examples of the power of crypto for good. Right?
Mm-hmm. Or if said another way, Sean, isn't that putting a dollar figure on one's life? Right. Mm-hmm. I mean, insulin, we're not talking about, 2 Tylenol. We're not talking about a couple of Bayer aspirin. We're talking about insulin here, and that dollar figure is kind of staggering. And to have, an impediment like the availability and accessibility of cryptocurrency to acquire those, preventing you from getting life-saving medication, that's dangerous territory, I think. Mm-hmm. And quite honestly, you could use the argument that I think meditourism is a well-known and established thing currently. Why is this so much different? Because you're paying with a different currency, a different coin? I don't know.
Yeah.
Of course, you have one good story about Monero, and then one story about Monero, and a newly found Monero bug that may, Monero prides himself on being very private, and have private transactions, and it looks like it could reveal your identity.
It's not necessarily an identity revealing bug. It's the fact that you can do a trace, and then you would use other things to identify someone, primarily IP address. But the idea is this: Monero kind of has like a built-in mixer, so it randomly selects one transaction out of 10, and the other 9 are decoys, basically. And so with each transaction, you have this logarithmically diminishing chance to be able to track what went from where to where. So this particular bug, if you spend the coins that you just got, I think it's within 2 minutes, then the ring of 10 that it's supposed to pick from doesn't end up working. Yeah, and so you can track back. Now, the fact that you can track that this address sent 10 to this address doesn't really mean anything. But if you do some analysis and you try to correlate to IP addresses by constantly monitoring the network, you might be able to figure out at least who which computer did it, and then potentially get an owner. But yeah, so it's not. It sucks. It's not a horrible leak of private information, no, necessarily. And you're right. I mean, they're just very evangelistic about privacy, and so they're all over this.
The one thing they pride themselves on. But there's a lot. Talk about what's some of the good things about having that level of privacy, because people only talk about the bad things when it comes to a privacy token. There are reasons you want to have privacy. I mean, besides, I should have a right to have my own privacy.
Yeah, I mean, the right to privacy doesn't exist in the United States. Unfortunately, there is no right to privacy. But if I walk into a pizza shop and hand a guy a $5 bill, I don't know him, he doesn't know me. I feel like I have a reasonable expectation to be able to engage in that kind of transaction, and so I think that's where these guys are coming from. Cash is private. So.
Okay. And here's been watching these guys for a while now. The Bacon DAO. They introduced Bacon DAO and Bacon Token. It was a decentralized. I think they've been out for about 3 years now, right? 18 months. Yeah. And I know they're really trying to do a lot in the NFT community. So.
This one's super interesting to me. I read the white paper and I love the use case. This is promoting, I guess, independent journalism, if you will, meaning that they are going to they reward you for community service of producing quality content. So I think this is a really great use case. Crowdsourced independent content is really pretty cool.
Yeah, it looks like they have about 30, I guess, promote influencers, I guess, that are on their board or whatever that try to help talk about the product.
It still is centralized, right? Because anything that you're going to have a person who passes judgment on something is by de facto centralized. But again, I love the idea that that you have this crowdsourcing of information. It's pretty cool.
Okay. Next up. That was more of the DAO stuff. Robinhood back in the news.
Robinhood
get hit with a fine of 30 million or 30 billion for the 30 million, more like, right? For that last GME incident. But it's interesting with this thing they came out with today. Robinhood introduces an aim to protect investors from the crypto volatility stock and cryptocurrency trading. It sounds like what they're basically doing is what they got in trouble for. Hey, we're going to tell people, here's our rule now. We're going to shut it down at this point when it gets crazy. You think that's what that's what I kind of read it as, is they're trying to cover themselves this time because they're not going to stop doing what they did before.
Yeah, this looks to me like a trading halt, which already happens on the equity markets, right? If you have a 5% decline in 15 minutes or any of these kind of flash trade stuff, they shut it down.
Yeah, the circuit breakers.
Yeah,
that's what they got in trouble for before.
Yeah, so now they're just basically saying if this happens, we're going to do it. I don't think that's a good idea because crypto is so volatile. So they may just end up doing it all the time. I don't know, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean it smacks of like a lifeguard saying, "Yeah, you can get in the water, but we're going to protect you from getting wet." It's like, really, guys? Like, I understand the circuit breaker analogy, but I don't think anybody can reasonably make the argument that the crypto market and the stock market dynamics trade in the same way. The crypto market, as you say, Sean, is significantly more volatile. It's fast. It moves. And again, honestly, I believe if you're investing in that marketplace, there is a certain correlation of risk and reward. So they should allow that. And quite honestly, if you're an investor and you're doing your homework, and the market moves, then so be it. But you're not putting. It's a false corollary to say, oh well, if this ETF or if Chase stock or Apple stock declines more than 1%, we're gonna put a trading halt on it. That's, my gosh, some of these things move 10% in a day. And I think that's part of the reason that attracts a bit of this investor. Actually, fascinating sidebar. The Robinhood boys actually put out a note saying, and I don't know if this is good or bad, but like 34%, around a third of their trading volume in Q1 2021 was all correlated to Dogecoin activity.
Wow.
Staggering number. And I honestly don't know how I feel about that, because that is an extraordinary number. But again, if we're talking thematic and the standard bearer for decentralization, why are you going to run in and throw in all of these very traditional market breaking mechanisms? Like, I just sort of feel like if you want that, there's the NYSE, and there's the NASDAQ. And, if you want to play in this sandbox, the rules are a little different, and you should be, up and aware of what the rules are for the sandbox. So I don't know. I don't really think it has a role to play in crypto.
Yeah. Well, and if you think about other hyper volatile markets, things like, say, options or complex interest rate options or any of those kind of derivative things, none of those have any circuit breakers because there is an insane amount of risk, an insane amount of volatility, and an insane amount of return. So to say, well, you're going to have to take a whole bunch of risk, but we're going to limit your upside. It doesn't work. You can't have both. Right, you got to be able to make a ton of money if you take a ton of risk. So, putting a lid on somebody's profits, whether it's upward, right, on the way down, someone else is making money. On the way up, someone else is making money. So, whether it's beneficial to you or not, with the circuit breaker, it's still limiting your loss or gain. Which, in a high risk market, you don't do that.
Yeah, and that unfortunately, that is like the goal of regulation, right, is to enforce that great mediocrity, and then that's what capitalism and the entrepreneurial spirit, hates. Like, that's the complete opposite of the entrepreneurial spirit. So
just make a little bit. They don't want you to make too much.
Not too much.
That's right.
All right. Well, we went through we're about 31 minutes in.
Cool.
We went through it. We did it. Well, I'm on the side of the highway, on Highway 4 in Jersey.
Reporting from the Dynamo van.
See if I can show, actually, before we go.
I think that's awesome, man.
Inside my car.
The Dino van.
Yeah.
It's like the mystery machine. We should get that. We should get that detailed out, Joe. We should get it all tricked out.
Yep, totally. 25 years of working out of my car. I can't believe this worked. But good.
Cool.
All right.
Yeah.
So
super cool.
We made it through, guys. And we will be back here on Friday, everybody, as the markets are still slowly in the red. But usually this time of day, it's a little more in the red.
Right. We'll be talking Bitcoin 50,000, Joe.
Yeah.
So,
you get your own TikTok channel talking about everything to the moon now.
Everything to the moon. That's right. Hodl, baby.
All right, guys. Thank you. We will see everyone on Friday. Goodbye.
Later, diners.